Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Jon Venus here. Today I'm going to be talking about a bit of a serious topic. It's going to be about binge eating or binge eating disorder, which is something that I have had a version of in the past. I've talked a little bit about it in the past here on the YouTube channel, but not in a very long time. And I know how many people struggle with this. I mean, it's the most common eating disorder in the world for sure. And I personally know so many people who have dealt with this, especially bodybuilders or people who are very into fitness. The way that I experienced it may not have been nowhere near as bad as someone else. But I'm here to tell you my experience, how I dealt with it, and hopefully that can help someone who's watching right now. For me, it started when I was relatively new into fitness and bodybuilding. So in the beginning, I went about this completely the wrong way. And the way that I went about it was the way that a lot of people go about it, which is severe caloric restriction. And when you do this, a lot of times your body or your mind will go into this kind of starvation mode where you kind of get those hunger pangs and you start craving huge amount of calories in short amount of time, and you just end up giving into the temptation and binging on a certain food. Now that's not binge eating disorder by itself, it's just that you're very hungry and you binged once. Now for me and for a lot of people, binge eating starts that way, but then it becomes more of a destructive habit because it happens over and over again. And I remember that this would happen pretty often. I would try to lose body fat, I would restrict my calories too much, go to the gym, do like 1 hour of cardio plus weightlifting, and not eat enough calories. So that would make me go into this starvation mode and crave all kinds of sweets and unhealthy junk food that I really didn't want to eat. I was trying to cut down on my body fat percentage very quickly, like a lot of us want to do everything quick, which is not the way to go in the first place, but I wanted to do it quick. And I would eat like 1,800 calories, which is very little for a person of my size, and I would go to the gym, lift for 1 hour, and then I would do cardio right afterwards for 45 minutes. And this one time, this one period, I remember I would do that, but then feel so hungry right at night, right before going to bed, that I would give into the temptation and eat Ben & Jerry's ice cream most of the time, chocolate chip cookies, cookies from Subway, these things that were like horrible for me. So that really made me feel a sense of guilt, you know, a little bit of shame, demotivation, because I knew that I was like, you know, ruining the progress, that I was binging on something that was gonna put me back, and I felt really bad about that because I was trying to reach a goal and then I was kind of ruining it by eating the foods that I was trying my best to stay away from. So the psychological aspect of this is what's gonna be the most detrimental, right? The shame, the guilt, the feeling of failing is what, you know, gets people in this vicious cycle. That's at least what got me into this vicious cycle. And I remember this so clearly. There was one time where I trained like 2 hours and at night I binged on, I don't know, probably like 5,000 calories or something like that, you know, 2 Ben & Jerry's, or at least 1.5 pints of Ben & Jerry's, cookies, you know, Kinder bars. This was before I was plant-based or vegan, and loads of other things. And I felt so bad, so guilty, that even though I already trained for like 2 or 3 hours that day, in the middle of the night I went to the 24-hour gym to try to repair the damage that I did out of, you know, guilt. And I would go there to the treadmill, crazy amount of cardio, trying to burn as much as possible. I remember burning 1,200 calories in that one session on the treadmill, just going absolutely crazy trying to repair the damage. But of course, even at the end of that session, I felt unsatisfied because I knew that I only caught up so much out of all the food that I ate just, you know, 1 hour before. This was, you know, really bad psychologically because it made me feel like a failure. It made me feel like I could never actually reach my goals. So the important thing to notice here is that I wasn't just eating a lot of calories. I was eating a huge amount of calories in a very short time and feeling sick when I was done with it, like really full, really, you know, disgusting and just wanted to throw up, except I didn't. I just held it in, of course. I didn't want to throw up because I thought that that was, you know, really bad, which it is. And this wouldn't go on once a month or once a week. This would be several times a week. At one point, probably almost every single day. And then I would try to compensate, for example, the next day with severe caloric restriction and overtraining, or, you know, the excessive amount of cardio on the treadmill in the gym and that kind of stuff. So this went on for, I'd say, a very long time. I mean, it's not to that extreme for a very long time, but a milder version went on for, I'd say, at least one whole year. And that extreme phase probably for a couple weeks. I mean, it's not sustainable. Like, I would die if I continued doing that. So for me personally, the binge eating was not caused by emotional distress or trauma or childhood abuse or anything like that, like it is for a lot of people. There are a lot of psychological triggers that can cause people to binge eat. For me, it was just the crazy amount of cardio that I was doing and the crazy amount of restriction in terms of calories. And that got me to a place of binge eating, and I didn't realize it at the time. I didn't even realize it until probably a year or two after I got in a good relationship with food, that I was actually experiencing binge eating. So I know a lot of you guys watching have experienced this, and it's really important, I think, to figure out why we're binge eating. Why? Like, what is the reason? And it's really hard to find a reason, especially when it's some deep-rooted trauma or thing that you experienced in your childhood, or something that is triggering that deep in your subconscious. It's really hard to find out the reason for binge eating. For me, it was easier because it was a body image type thing, and I think that is very normal as well. So I think a lot of you guys can relate to that. It's you wanting to look a certain way, look aesthetic, look good, and doing everything you can in terms of restriction to get there, and then you know, slipping up and binging, and then, you know, getting into this vicious cycle. That was my experience. But find out what it is. If it is a trauma, if it is something psychological that is triggering it, try your best to find it. Do techniques like meditation, breath work. Try to analyze it and dig deeper. Maybe you'll find something. Maybe it requires you weeks or months or years of trying to observe your thoughts to actually find out. But again, doing meditation, doing breath work, these things may help you, you know, bring those deep-rooted emotions up and realize them. I know for me with addiction, especially with like cigarettes and nicotine and all kinds of stuff, it's really hard to find exactly what is triggering those addictions. It's really hard to just say, oh, let me observe the thoughts and then I'll find out that it was, you know, this guy that told me that I was ugly in high school. Like, it doesn't work. It's not that simple, right? So I understand. I'm not saying that this is an easy fix, but I do know a lot of us struggle with it, and I know that it's really important to be honest and open about it. I mean, I know so many people in the fitness industry and you know, the YouTube community and on social media who struggle with binge eating, but no one wants to talk about it because it's taboo, makes them look weak, and people just don't want that. I feel amazing, and I attribute a lot of that to my nutrition by focusing on whole plant foods, and also not restricting my calories a lot and doing yo-yo dieting and these things. It's just about consistently eating healthy whole foods and getting exercise in, and that way I don't even need to track calories or macros or anything like that. I eat intuitively like a human being should. But I'm not bashing on calorie counting and macro counting and tracking, because it is important if you want to learn how your body works. But I'm just saying it can lead to unhealthy behavior if you restrict yourself too much. So yeah, guys, I don't know if this was helpful. I'm trying to bring some more tips and ideas here, but I think this is something very individual that all of us have to work out ourselves. And I wish it could be of more help, but I hope this was slightly helpful. Just know that there is a solution. Just know that there is a way to conquer your emotions, your mind. It's all about, you know, really analyzing and trying to do your best and not giving up, ever giving up. So thank you so much for watching. Stay positive, stay healthy, and it would mean a lot if you guys could share your experience with binge eating, if you have some, in the comment section below. That would help a lot of people as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon. Peace out.